foremost. So pleased to see so many people here in and around, and the next minutes I will spend talking to you about how we can empower your business in Europe. It's my pleasure to be here. Thank you so much. I heard so much in the morning and had so many interesting talks. I now have to focus back. So let's start with why would you come to Hessen? What is Hessen? And Hessen might be or should be your gateway to Europe. We're talking about a region with overall 40 million consumers just in and around the Frankfurt area. I mentioned it before, Frankfurt, the biggest German airport, one of the biggest airports in Europe. Whenever you will come to Germany, most likely you will have landed and been to Frankfurt at that time. If we have a look on the whole European Union, we talk about 450 million consumers. If we include the recently exited UK, we are more than 500 million consumers, so a very interesting market. And the big advantage of a location in Hessen is that all of this is available within about 3 hours flight time at the least. So you're right in the middle, truly, of Europe to do your business. We have one of the largest internet exchanges of the GICs available, so especially when you're in the ICT sector or if you're depending on fast internet services because you're in the R&D sector, this is the right place to be. And of course, you might know that Frankfurt is not only home to the German central bank, but also to the European central bank, so you're in the heart of the financial situation within Europe. So we are a successful business location already. You see the numbers listed here. Actually, Hessen, which is quite rare for Germany, imports more than we export, so we don't have to fear some kind of tariffs that might be imposed. But what is important for you to know is that the Hessian economy is producing more GDP in the average than the rest of Germany, so it's a real powerhouse where you can set up your business in order to be successful around. So some key facts: if Hessen would be a single state within the European Union, we would be ranking 5th, right before Austria, so that is a very powerful number if you consider 28 countries being in the European Union. The GDP numbers and so on, you can check for that. I talked already about the high-speed internet connections, and it's important, 90%, nearly 100% of all the economic zones have this high-speed internet connections. That is not true for all the parts in Europe. So this is important when you think about. In the last 10 years, about 2,000 companies were approaching us. We helped them to set up their business here. So I think this is a good number for you to know that what we are doing is solid, so we can help you set up your ground. We have a lot of research institutions in and around. Somebody counted them up to 100. I'm still trying to figure out that number completely, but if you have all the institutions, all the universities we have there, it comes close to them. And it's very interesting when it comes to startups, which companies are bringing the next ideas to the table. In 2023 alone, we had closely to 200 successful startups getting on the ground, starting their business with us in Hessen. And this is of all sectors. We have some specifics in the healthcare and in the fintech sector, but overall nearly 200 of them were starting their business last year, 2003, so 1 year ago. So we are one of the top FDI locations within Germany and worldwide. Here are some numbers. Of course, United States and China are the far leadings, but if you have a closer look, you will see that India already in the last 10-year survey is on place number 6. I would suggest some of you have to come to us in order to kick France out of the top 5. This is so close by. So give us a try. We have very strong relations with India. I will come to that at the end of my presentation as well. This might be the perfect place for you to start your business. And I've heard of some of the LOIs around. These sales offices, this is the typical business approach that people start with Hessen. You're right in the middle, you start with a small sales entity, you get to know the market, you get to know the people, you get to know your ways around, and then you start growing out. We have a strong foothold in R&D especially. This is what we are providing in our area. So let's talk about that if you're interested in getting these first steps in the European and German market. So Hessen, as I mentioned, is within the European Union, and it's not only in the European Union. You have the easy access to all the services you need. When you come from India, you might need some consular services as well. They are all basically in Hessen, so you have no long ways to get to your people, to get the visa issues, to get passport, stuff like that. And this is true not only for India, but for all important nations of the world. We have the largest US consulate in the world with us in Hessen. We have China, we have Singapore. Everybody is around, so it's very easy for you, if you want to do business in and around Europe, to also approach another country on a first step basis, because usually the consulates have their commercial offices there. You don't have to travel too far. You can have your first pitch right where you are with your office within Hessen. And as you see, some of the countries are whitened. Of course, UK has left the European Union, that's why we've not included them. But if you have a look on Switzerland, the white part in the middle, or Norway, all these countries have the trade agreements with the European Union, so they are also accessible for you once you have set up your business with us. So one of the key benefits, we say, and important for you to know, is the very strong small and medium-sized business landscape we have. I mean, you all will have heard of the German Mittelstand as these powerful small companies you haven't heard the name of, but you might have the product of them all in around. Hessen is one perfect example for that. Besides the big banks and the financial institutions, we have numbers and numbers of important Mittelstand companies that are doing incredible jobs, incredible inventions, and they are always looking for partners, for new corporations, for joint ventures. So that's a good reason to come to us. The definitions on what an SME is, I will spare you. You can check that later on the slides if you want to. So what might be interesting for you is in which sectors might it be interesting to come to Hessen, because you know, if anybody says he's a specialist in everything, he's no specialist anymore. So we are focusing on more or less 8 sectors that are relevant for the state of Hessen, which is the ICT sector. As I mentioned, we have one of the largest internet nodes of the world with GICs there. That means that we have a lot of data centers in and around Frankfurt. We have a lot of service providers, IT companies. AI is now coming up because they need these facilities. So if you're in this sector, this might be the right place, because there is definitely no second place within Germany and hardly a second place in Europe to have this capacities. Sometimes there are numbers that London is still slightly ahead of us. If you talk to data center providers, in about 5 years' time, London will be left behind the Frankfurt region. ICT, you should talk to me. Electronics as well, this is more in the central part of Hessen. Some very good specialists going on there. Is a second part. Pharmaceutical and medical technology industry is very strong. Some of you might remember the old name of Höchst, which was derived basically right outside of Frankfurt. Now it is split up in a lot of companies, but these companies are still there. The knowledge is still there. The workforce is still there. We have BioNTech close by. I'm not sure who is really aware of BioNTech. They are the guys who invented the COVID vaccination, even though in the rest of the world mostly you will know the supply chain partner Pfizer. But this stuff is made right out of Hessen in the central part. There is the big facility. They are shipping about 1.5 to 2 billion vaccination doses per year from there. We have with CSL Behring and their $1 billion R&D investment, one of the biggest innovation centers they have on the planet. So very interesting for you to be there if you are in this sector as well. Well, transportation and logistics, it's a given with the biggest airport in and around. We have the big railroad crossings, but of course, I will be honest with you, let's talk in depth what you're thinking about, because nobody really likes to have these high towering storage buildings right next to one each other. but still this is a very important part. We have some very successful examples of companies in this sector with us as well. Automotive and e-mobility. Sure, this is very easy. Opel is a well-known trademark. We have a lot of international companies like Geely, like Hyundai, like Kia with us. They all have their R&D centers with us. So this is an important part. Medical technology was already mentioned. Financial services, of course, with the German and the European central banks around. We have a lot of fintechs in and around Frankfurt. And I know if you're in this sector, you will now say, nice talking, David. We know that the fintechs are in Berlin. They might be in Munich, and there might be in Hessen, but their customers, the big banks, the big insurances, the legislation, they are in Frankfurt. And if you want to do business with all three locations, you don't want to travel from Berlin to Munich. You want to go from the middle, easy way out and about. So please approach me if you're in that part. And engineering, German engineering is well known. We have a lot of that in the southern parts. There are some machine manufacturers out there close to the border to Baden-Württemberg. So this is a very interesting sector for you as well. So I will dive deeper in some of them a little bit, just to give you an overview. You will recognize the logos of the important companies, or some of the important companies we figured out. Please apologize if we missed somebody out, but you see ICT, I mentioned, this is the sector with the largest employment in all of Hessen. So if you're in this sector and you're looking for skilled workforce, that might be the right place to set up your business. The GIC hub I already mentioned handles about 90% of the German data traffic. So basically you're at the center. We assume this is the reason why we have the biggest US consulate as well. This is surely not for consular reasons alone. So what might be also important for you to know is that very close to Frankfurt, in the city of Darmstadt with a technical university, there is also the National Cybersecurity Research Center. So when it comes to the ICT sectors, there is also always the issue of data security, how to protect, how to develop this part, and so there you're at the source of the research that is going on in this field. You have the experts right at hand. The engineering sector, I mentioned that we have this large number of small and medium-sized companies you can do business with, you can help, you can talk to. Yes, the People's Republic of China is the biggest leading export designation as of now, but we will see how this changes over time, and I think here is something that is very interesting also for India. This is more of a trade part, to be honest, but let's talk about that as well, as my department is heading both directions. And once again, you have this very strong research capacities due to the universities, the research faculties, all those institutions that also provide the workforce of the future. And once you're there, you can have your joint ventures with the universities to ensure you get the right people doing the job for you. So electronics, very interesting in the central part of Hessen. This is also the crossing over to the optics sector. So you might have heard of Leica, you might have heard of XIII. XIII is originating from an Eastern German country, but the second biggest facility is within Hessen. There is a very strong network of small and medium-sized companies collaborating close by. We can help you access these networks. This is always what we want to help you in getting the right persons to know, so that you can easily focus on doing your business rather than finding out who you want to talk to doing this business later on. The export rate, of course, in this sector is a little bit higher because it's a typical high-level product that is exported overall. We will see how the developments are going on, but this is a sector we see a lot of interest, especially as now the topic of defense is coming up. I will just briefly get to that. You will all know of the dual-use components which are in the electronics industry quite common. Germany is about to get a new federal government. They will change some regulations, and from what I believe, this is a very personal note, so please don't quote me. The defense sector, which used to be in Germany very under the radar, very clandestine because nobody really wanted to talk about. This is changing right now. So if you're in this sector active or think about going in this sector, this might be the perfect time to be in the first movement, to really get a foot on the ground and to get the right persons to talk to and doing your business there. I'm pretty sure that this is a big thing coming up. So financial services, I already mentioned that. In the left corner, you already see the House of Finance. I will get to the houses of concept a little later on. So what we provide are these perfect networks you want to get into. When you come into a new country, you don't want to waste time with that. We provide that in Hessen on a very elaborated and very successful long-running system of networks. We can easily help you get into it. We have more than 200 national banks. That might be interesting for anybody of you. We have the Indian banks with us in Hessen, so if you're talking financial businesses with any kind of company you're doing, you have your guys on the ground. You have your guys to talk to. You don't have to talk to a Swiss or an American or let's say an Italian bank or whatever, or a German bank. You have an Indian bank as well, just right around the corner. We have one of the biggest stock exchanges in Europe and of the world. So this is everything I mentioned already before. The fintech sector, there's so much going on. Some of the apps are using, so if you know Trade Republic, for example, they are using the technology of one of the companies that is based in Frankfurt. And of course, the medtech sector, I mentioned it, still a lot of workforce there, high qualified people doing research and development, making inventions, is still one of the strongest sectors we have. And you see also, if you're in the biotech sector, we always make this distinction because we have so much going on. We want to figure out this, or point this out specifically, the biotech sector with more than 200 companies alone in Hessen. It's very strong, so very interesting. Mostly in the red biotech sector, a little bit in the white biotech sector, and as always in Germany, nearly nothing in the green biotech sector, but it's very interesting to get or to tap into this knowledge and to join this interface between the different technologies. So transport and logistics was mentioned. Let's talk about that. If you're in air freight, that might be interesting because the Frankfurt airport, I know that has huge facilities to help you with that. Given our location right in the middle of Germany, if you need shipping by ships, so the real shipping, this is something we cannot provide. We have no coastline, we are encircled by friends, but all other ways, it's perfect location with us. And actually within the northern parts, we have the latest cut-off time if you want to make deliveries to the European Union. So this is the perfect places for you if you are in the business of logistics. It's the right place to set up your new facility in order to provide your services to all of Europe out of one location and not needing several other locations as well. So I already mentioned this Hessen's Houses of concept. It was introduced a few years ago. I would say it's something between the pure classic industry clusters that are wandering around and between something state wanted, driven, but not really economically focused part. The houses of are the perfect mixture of that. They are the perfect interface to the government to support what you want to do, but they are the perfect match-up of the companies that are interested in this specific topic. As of now, we have 5 houses of. So you see digital transformation is very important as of now. Energy in the northern parts, logistics, mobility, House of Pharma and Healthcare, House of Finance, no wonders. All these sectors were mentioned before. So if you come to Hessen and set up your business, it's very easy to get in touch with those guys, and they help you furthermore to know more and more of the companies that are in and around your sector. So you have the perfect timing. Sorry for that. So I already mentioned it, and I was really keen on listening to people going with their R&D businesses to Hanover. That might be a very specific part because we have a lot of R&D going on in Hessen. We have to say that. A lot of the companies have started with their sales offices Kia is such an example. They started years and years ago with a sales office, and now they have more than 300 R&D engineers going there. We have with Geely the completely European R&D center, 200 engineers doing the whole engineering for Geely, for the European market with us. So it's a perfect location. You have the access, as I mentioned before, to the technological preferences and necessities you need, but also you have the workforce in and around. If you have a look on the Frankfurt region alone, people always have in mind Berlin, 3.5 million. I know for Mumbai this is no match at all. Germans tend to always think of big cities in different scale. But in Germany, Berlin with 3.5 million is the biggest city within Germany. But if you take the scale of Berlin and put it to Hessen, you have about 6 million people. It's just given to the structures of the municipalities that you don't have just one mayor, you have like 50 mayors, but you have 6 million people that might be working for you. So it might be very interesting for you to come to us, to do the research. You have the exchanges, you have a lot of events going on where you can talk to the other guys. So that might be very interesting. The focus sectors. Another part of our agency of Hessen Trade and Invest is focusing more inbound on the technology. This is what you see on the right side, the Technologieland Hessen. Those are the real experts in the topics. And whenever it comes to more specific questions you have, we will get them at the table as well, so we can figure out what you really need. Not only talking some guys, okay, let's talk sales office, but we can also talk your technology if you want to, and this is why we can help you perfectly getting on the ground. And we are already the #1 location for Indian companies in Germany. We counted more than 200 companies overall doing business in Hessen. As you've seen, about half of them came to us in the last 10 years. We have more than 20,000 citizens of India in and around, so we have a huge cultural and culinary offer, I would say so. You have the Consulate General, you have India Trade Promotion there as well, so all the institutions you might need as well from your home country are accessible with us as well. As I mentioned, you're right now ranking 6. It would be my pleasure to help you getting number 5 or number 4 in this ranking in and around. Please meet me at the B2B tables. And this is not the guy you see there talking. This is our investor survey. This is what the investors say. He's just smiling because he's happy that our investor says, if you come to Hessen, you will find the right qualified workforce. This is an issue today. It's not about finding the right place, it's about finding the right people. We offer you both. You find the international environment. You don't want to sit in some remote area of Germany where you find marvelous beer, but you will never have a chance on a good mango lassi, you know. International transport hub, it's easy for you to get back home, to get your family there. You will see in the evening from our tourism department the movie. It's a beautiful landscape. It's so easy for you. Within 15 minutes out of Frankfurt, you are in the green. You can hike. You can go on the rivers. So it's very perfect to have this well-known work-life balance with us, and we provide you this access to the markets in Germany and Europe. So I'd like to say welcome to Hessen, welcome to Frankfurt. Let's empower your business together. Thank you.